In 2023, Saudi Arabia sold oil to China, but not in US dollars, in Chinese yuan. Economists around the world went quiet because this one transaction broke a rule that had stood for 70 years. In 1944, World War II wasn't over yet, but the winners were already asking after the war, who's going to run the world? That answer got decided in a hotel in New Hampshire, the Bretton Woods Agreement. The decision was made the world's trade would speak one language, the US dollar. From that moment to this day, buy oil, dollars, buy gold, dollars, need a loan, dollars, any major transaction. Anywhere on earth, it has to go through the dollar. This isn't just economics. This is power. Because the country whose currency runs the world, that country never goes broke. They can print money whenever they want. They can slap sanctions on anyone whenever they want. They can freeze somebody's bank account just like that. This weapon has a name, the Petrodollar system. And China has been watching, learning, and getting nervous. Today, China is the world's second largest economy, the biggest trading partner for over 140 countries. Every day they move trillions of dollars worth of goods in and out, but a huge chunk of those transactions still in dollars. And that's what keeps Beijing up at night. In 2012, the US slapped sanctions on Iran. Iran got cut off from the international banking system. Overnight, their economy stopped cold. No bombs dropped, no soldiers died. They just pulled the dollars away. Beijing watched this happen and realized depending on the dollar means the United States has a switch they could flip against China any day they choose. So China made a decision, knock out that switch entirely. China's strategy is straightforward. Slowly get the world comfortable with the yuan. Start with the neighbors, then Africa, then the Middle East. A deal with every country trade with us in yuan. We'll build you railroads, build you ports, build you hospitals. That strategy has a name, the Belt and Road Initiative. Then came currency swap agreements. Simple idea, hold yuan with us. We'll hold your currency. When you need to, transact directly. No dollars required. By 2023, China had signed these agreements with over 40 countries. And then came that moment. Saudi Arabia, America's ally for decade after decade, started settling oil deals with China in yuan. The word petroyuan was born. Washington's forehead started to crease. In 2023, the BRICS summit in South Africa. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. And new members, Saudi Arabia, Iran, UAE, Ethiopia, Argentina. This bloc's total population 40% of the entire planet. Combined GDP over 30% of the world's output. And their main topic of discussion? How to do business without the dollar. For decades, international bank transfers have run on the SWIFT system. That system is under Western control. Russia got kicked out of that system in 2022. Overnight, their international transactions shut down. China watched that too, and started building its own alternative even faster. It's called CIPS, Cross-Border Interbank Payment System. But we have to stop right here, because the truth needs to be told. Can the yuan actually replace the dollar? To this day, the world's central banks hold roughly 60% of their reserves in dollars. The yuan's share? Just 2 to 3%. The gap is still enormous. And the yuan has one massive problem. China keeps its currency under government control. Outside investors can't freely buy and sell yuan. For a currency to become the world's reserve currency, it has to be allowed to move freely. China isn't willing to allow that freedom yet because they're afraid of losing control. And that contradiction is the yuan's biggest enemy. China's goal is not to destroy the dollar. They can't do that anyway. Not in a decade, at least. China's real goal is to build a system where even if the US wants to, It can't easily use economic weapons against China. This is defense. This is survival. And in this process, a new world is being born, where one currency won't control everything, where one country won't decide who economically lives and who dies. That depends on where you're sitting when you watch it unfold. The biggest power shifts in history don't always happen on a battlefield. Sometimes they happen in a bank's server room, in a port where oil gets paid for in yuan instead, in a diplomatic meeting where the word dollar never came up. The world is changing. Slowly, quietly, but for certain. The question is, where does this change stop? Nobody knows. Not even Beijing.